Today I'm going to be making black bean burgers. I'm going to be using an onion, some green pepper, some garlic, and black beans, of course. I'm going to be using a food processor today, but you can go ahead and mince up your vegetables by hand. But the first thing I like to do is to get my oven preheated at 350. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm only going to be using half of the onion for the bean mix. The other half I'm going to use for the garnish. As for the green pepper, I'm only going to use half of the green pepper as well. And the other half I'll just use it for another meal. I'll go ahead and put this green pepper into my food processor. Let's go ahead and slice up some of the onions for the garnish. Okay, we'll go ahead and save these for later for the garnish. Go ahead and put my half an onion, cut up my garlic cloves, have the halves. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add 2 baby carrots. Might as well cut these up a little bit. A teaspoon and a half of cumin. Teaspoon and a half of chili powder. Now, a teaspoon and a half of steak rub. That's usually found in the barbecuing aisles of your store. So a teaspoon and a half of steak rub. A tablespoon of Dijon mustard. A teaspoon or a tablespoon, it's all up to you, of sriracha. I like to put in just a little bit of salt. And of course, some pepper. A tablespoon of cornstarch. And we'll go ahead and give this a stir. Okay, let's go ahead and get it off the sides. I like to use one of those rubber scrapers. It works so nice. And it's really safe for my food processor as well. All right, let's go ahead and give this another run. All right, now let's go ahead and get started on our beans. So I get a bowl, and I go ahead and put my 2 cans of drained and rinsed black beans. I go ahead and mash them with a fork. This takes a little bit of time to do. Just go ahead and just keep mashing them. All right, so my beans are mashed up pretty good. The next thing I usually like to do is to tear up little pieces of whole wheat bread. Little tiny pieces. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add all my vegetables and spices into the mashed beans. So now I add about a half a cup of whole wheat flour into this mix. Leave a little bit there just so I can get stirring. Then I put some of my torn up whole wheat bread slices. Maybe a little bit of water. And start giving this a stir. So as you can see, it's just a little bit wet. So I can go ahead and add a little bit more of my whole wheat flour. A little bit more of my couple slices of whole wheat bread. Keep mixing this up. Some gonna go ahead and add the full, this is a half a cup of flour I've put in here now. Half a cup of whole wheat flour. And maybe a tablespoon of water. All right, that's looking pretty darn good, and I can tell that I can already start to mold these into balls. So I go ahead and make them into patties. Go ahead and put them on some parchment paper on a baking dish. Go ahead and grab me another one. Roll them in a ball, and then start flattening them out. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and put these in the oven. Okay, these turned out great. What I did was I cooked them for about 12 minutes on one side, and then I flipped them and cooked them for another 12 minutes on the other side. And these look fantastic. So let's go ahead and give them a try. Go ahead and put some lettuce on there, maybe a little bit of onion on there, maybe a couple tomatoes, maybe a couple pickles on there. Let me go ahead and cut this. And as you can see, that's looking pretty darn good. I can't wait to check it out. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be good. So good. And so good for you. Your family's gonna love this. Today I'm gonna be making a broccoli salad. It's sweet, it's creamy, it's crunchy. I'm gonna be making it with a purple onion, some broccoli of course, some dried cranberries, maybe some raisins, purple cabbage, and some mandarin oranges. But first, let's go ahead and get started cutting up these vegetables. Now, I always like to put in some type of fruit. Today I'm going to be using mandarin oranges. You could use apples or grapes, whatever you have in your pantry. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these up because they're just a little too big for a bite size. So I'm going to be using about a half a cup of dried cranberries. I've got some raisins in here, but whatever you have in your pantry. I've also got a couple tablespoons of dried coconut flakes. Now it's time to make the dressing. I usually start out with about a half a cup of unsweetened almond milk, a little bit of pepper, got a tablespoon of maple syrup. This is grade A maple syrup. I've got a teaspoon of miso. And then I've got a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. We'll go ahead and get this stirred up. So it takes a little while to break down the miso, but eventually it begins to blend. Now the last thing I like to put in there is about a teaspoon of sugar. This is optional, but I just like a little bit of that sweetness in there. We'll go ahead and break this down a little bit. Okay, this is blending up real nice. I'm going to go ahead and put it into the salad. Just try to drizzle it all over the place. And then just start tossing it. You just want to get it so it glazes over all the vegetables. Okay, so this has been in the refrigerator for about an hour. And what that does is it allows the dressing to marinate into the vegetables, and it tastes awesome. Let's go ahead and check it out. I like to re-stir it up a little bit, mix it up. There we go. Let's go ahead and check it out. And there you go. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait. That is so good. You're going to love this one. Today I'm going to be making a simple but delicious sandwich spread. It uses a 15-ounce can of chickpeas. I've drained and rinsed those. A 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. A 1/4 cup of raw cashews. I've got a little bit of spinach in here, and of course some lemon juice. And I've got a couple other spices, but let's go ahead and get started. You know, you can always mash up the chickpeas with the back of a fork in a bowl, but I'm going to use my food processor just to speed things up a little bit. Got my 1/4 cup of raw cashews. Got just about maybe a 1/4 cup of spinach. Process this up. Okay, we'll get it off the sides a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, it's a little bit pasty, so I want to kind of get it a little bit wetter. So I can always add just a little bit of water. Just a little bit. See how that is, and we'll give it another run here. Get it off the sides again with my little rubber spatula. Okay, I'll put a little bit more water in there. So that was about, this is about a 1/4 cup. Okay, we'll go ahead and scrape it off the sides again. Okay, it's now starting to get really nice. That's about the consistency we like. So now I put in 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. I got a teaspoon of tamari, a teaspoon of garlic powder. I like to put in about 1/2 pickle, 1/2 dill pickle. I got a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. Then I like to put in just a little pinch of dill, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. To cut up a lemon, I like some lemon juice in there. Okay. Lemon juice. And then I like to put in a little bit of sriracha. This is all up to you though, but I just like to give it just a little bit of kick. But this is totally all up to your personality. Go ahead and get it off the sides again. All right, that looks pretty good. So now it's time to go ahead and transfer it to a bowl. All right, that looks really good. So let's go ahead and make a sandwich. Okay, I've got a couple slices of whole wheat bread. I've got a couple slices of cucumber, some kale, and some tomatoes. So let's go ahead and check out this new spread we made. Okay, let's put a little bit of kale on there. Maybe a little bit of tomatoes on there. And then some cucumbers. That's a nice looking sandwich. Let's go ahead and check it out. go. Very nice, very nice. I love the way the spread works with all the vegetables. It's a very, very good sandwich, and it's extremely healthy for you. You're gonna love it.